Hello, welcome to Abington News and Views. I'm Martin Katz, and today we have with us Jeff Lindy, Democratic candidate for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
How you doing, Marty?
Good. Tell us a little bit about your legal background right now.
I'm currently an attorney. I have offices in Narberth, which is over in Lower Merion, on the other side of the river, as well as Center City, Philadelphia. I do mostly federal criminal defense. I do some state criminal work as well. I do commercial litigation.
Okay.
I run my own practice. I have 4 or 5 attorneys who work with me as I need them to.
Very good. And how about prior to that?
Well, prior to that, I was a prosecutor. I was a federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. That's located in Philadelphia, but the district goes from the Delaware River all the way west of Allentown, so it's a very big geographic area. And then prior to that, although I am a hometown guy, I went up to Brooklyn, New York. I heard there was a little crime going on in Brooklyn, and I was a state prosecutor, an assistant DA in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
So you have a New York bar license too?
I got New York, I got Connecticut, I got New Jersey, I got Pennsylvania.
Man. Wow.
That's way too many bars.
That's tough, man.
That's too many exams.
Well, Jeff, you're running for Democratic candidate for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. What brings you to that?
Well, it's the time of my career where I really think it's right. My whole practice has been in court. And when you're in court, the top of the pile is the judge. The judge is the man or the woman who deliberates, who keeps the fight fair, who keeps the sides equal, who tries to make sure that real justice is done. And if you're a courtroom lawyer, and certainly if you're a courtroom lawyer like I am, you look up to the judge. And I reached a point in my career where I really thought, it's time for me to try to be a judge. It's the judicial positions are ones that I've always admired. The other part of it, frankly, is that it's also public service. And although it's been about 16 years since I was in the public service as a federal prosecutor, and then before that as a state prosecutor, I really miss that. I've tried to infuse my practice with as much public service as possible. I do a lot of pro bono work. I do a heck of a lot of community work. And at the same time that I was thinking that I want to aspire to be a judge because of a position that a judge holds in the courtroom, I also thought to myself, I really want to get back to public service. That really is what drives me. And I really was never as happy as I was when I was doing public service.
Okay. Now, Jeff, you were awarded the John Marshall Award for Outstanding Legal Achievement. Tell us about that.
Well, that's I haven't been asked that question in a long time. It was a very interesting day. The John Marshall Award is one of the top 3 awards given by the federal government for federal prosecution.
Wow. Okay.
And myself and a few others in Philadelphia at the U.S. Attorney's Office prosecuted 2 very large narcotics trafficking organizations, and these organizations were preying on an area in North Philadelphia. They were multi-million-dollar organizations, and they were violent as well. Now, we just did our job. We work with the FBI, we work with DEA, we work with Philadelphia police officers, we work with Montgomery County police officers because some of the drugs were coming out here. And it was a several-year prosecution from start to finish. And by the time we finished, these organizations were totally dismantled, and today still in those neighborhoods, drugs have not moved back in. One of the biggest problems with drug law enforcement is that you move one drug organization out and another one comes in. And there seems to be absolutely no difference. The way that these prosecutions were approached, it was a coordinated event with the state. It was a coordinated event with the federal prosecutors. We had some with federal law enforcement. And because of that, and I think also, frankly, because of the neighbors, because of the people who lived in these communities, they were able to keep the drug organizations from moving back in. I actually had left the government. I was in private practice at a big firm, and I got a phone call from one of my buddies. Actually, his name is Bob Zausmer, and you may recognize his name. He just finished prosecuting Fumo. And Bob has been a friend of mine for a very long time. Bob called me, and he said, "Hey, Jeff, we just got the John Marshall Award."
Wow.
And I was surprised. So I went down to Washington, and it was a lot of pomp and circumstance. There was the Marine Corps band was there, and the Attorney General presented me personally with the award. I still have it in my office, a very nice, big plaque. The thing that was most surprising, about a month after that, and again, I was still at a large firm, I received a $1,000 check in the mail. And I didn't really know why. I called up Bob. I said, "What is this for?" And he said, "Well, this is, it comes with the award."
Yeah.
And I said, why? And he, went through an explanation. He didn't really understand either. I called some other people in the Department of Justice, and everybody who got the John Marshall got $1,000. And I thought that was wrong, because I was doing my job. I was paid to do my job.
Right.
And I didn't feel comfortable with that. So I called a friend of mine who was active in the Latino community. These were Latino drug organizations.
Right.
And I wanted to donate this to a group that maybe could help in the community. And there was a group named Congreso de Latino Unidos. And they were, at that point, a new grassroots organization. And I took the $1,000 check, and I signed it over, and I took it and I gave it to them.
That was very cool.
But that was sort of a surprise with the award.
Now tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, I'm married to my wife, Nancy, married for 19 years. My son, Isaac, just turned 17. He's a junior at Lower Merion High School.
Right.
And my daughter, Olivia, is an 8th grader at Ballackinwood Junior High. And next year they will be in Lower Merion High School together, which she's very excited about. We live in Ballackinwood.
Right.
We do the things that families do. We're mostly chasing after the kids and making sure they get where they're going.
Sure.
One of the big events in our lives was that my son now drives, and he's a very safe and a good driver, and so that's one aspect.
It's nice to hear a father saying that.
He can now take himself to the places that he has to go.
Yeah.
We're over there, and I've been involved in the Ballackinwood community with the Civic Association, with the Fire Brigade, and with various other organizations as well.
Well, tell us, I know you have a lot of involvement in the community. Talk to us about that.
Well, that's in Ballackinwood, the Civic Association is called the Neighborhood Club of Ballackinwood, which is, I call it the Civic Association because you say the Neighborhood Club of Ballackinwood and people go, oh, is this some sort of private club? It's the Civic. It's one of the oldest civics actually in southeastern Pennsylvania. And I was on the board for about 7 years. I was president for 2 years. I was vice president for 2 years. I was secretary for 1 year. It is a very, very active organization. The Civic Association, one of our past presidents is now the president of the Lower Merion Board of Commissioners. We routinely put members into the township government. It's very active, but in a very productive way. If there's any zoning issues, the township will, in our area, the township will frequently say, look, you got to go see the Civic Association first. You have to vet it with them. That was a nice experience. After that, I was fortunate enough that the UFA, Union Fire Association, which protects the communities of Bala and Kinwood and Marion, asked me to join the board. And, I'm just a civilian board member, and these guys are the ones who do the firefighting, but they're great guys.
Right.
And I enjoy doing that. Education Foundation of Lower Merion is another board that I'm proud of, and that's a group that Richard Wells started. It is a nonprofit, and the idea is that this Education Foundation of Lower Merion raises funds for the public schools because obviously, particularly in the last couple of years, funding has been short. We have lost money for the arts. We have lost money for other programs that the kids need, and the EFLM seeks to raise money to supplement those programs.
Right.
Actually, in the city of Philadelphia, I was a board member of the National Clearinghouse for the Defense of Battered Women, and that's a very worthwhile group. It represents and finds legal representation for women who have been abused by their husbands and who are in trouble because of that, and that was a very eye-opening and a very good experience.
Quite extensive. Now, Jeff, you have extensive experience in both federal and state courts. Tell us what the biggest difference is between the two.
Well, the courts are really structured to take care of different things, and obviously I've done civil litigation and commercial litigation, but my experience is in criminal work, prosecution and defense, and so I can speak to that, I think, most clearly. There's a very bright line between these two courts. The state court system for criminal justice is really designed to protect people. I mean, a cop sees a crime occurring and he stops it. Right. Sometimes you can't do an investigation, and that's not your job. You see the bad guy, you go get the bad guy. Over 80% of state criminal defendants are represented by public defenders, so you have a tremendous funding and budgetary issue as well. But the state court, primarily with criminal law, is structured to protect the victims and just get the bad guys off the street. It means sometimes they're going to come back.
Jeff, you know what, I want to stop you
Sure.
there because I want you to get a chance. You have about 25 seconds to tell our folks at home why they should vote for Jeff Lindy for judge.
Well, I think, as I've demonstrated through this interview, that my experience is deep and it's broad. What you want in a judge is that you want somebody who's going to understand your life, your experiences, and who's going to have the background so that he can bring all of his experiences to the bench and to judge what you're going through. You want somebody who's going to be fair, and you want somebody who's going to give you a fair shot, and that's what I'm going to do.
Jeff Lindy, I want to thank you for
Thank
being
you.
with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
And remember, folks, to get out and vote in the primaries. We want to thank our guest, Jeff Lindy, Democratic candidate from Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. We will be right back.